Do you like it from behind? How about in front? On top? Or below? I'm talking about airflow, guys. Get your mind out of the gutter. And with the RDA I'm going to be talking about today, the airflow comes from the bottom. This RDA is called the Lancia. Ooh, the Lancia. I posted this sucker on my Instagram page. If you don't follow me, check me out. But I posted this on my Instagram page and everyone seemed to like it. I'm talking about, man, 2,300 likes off of one piece, one product. That's pretty cool. This thing, she's a beaut. Boy, she's eye candy. And that's why I think a lot of people liked it. Just like another RDA that I reviewed in the past, and you guys know it, most of you guys know it, the Magma. The Magma RDA has that airflow just like the Lancia from the bottom, but the difference is this thing is like the Magma on steroids. And I do want to mention this because a lot of people keep asking me about the Magma. That thing produces chucks the flavor. But a lot of people are asking me, Rip, why don't you include the Magma in your top 3 or 4? Well, the reason is because the airflow is just too tight. It's not my speed. I mean, it's great. It's great for those lung inhales. It's great if you want to vape, 18, 20 watts. It's great to run in single coil mode, but it's just not my speed. First of all, you can run this thing in single coil, dual coil, or quad coil mode. It comes with 15 adjustable pins, which I'll show you guys in the close-ups, but you have airflow options, 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter, or 3 millimeter. And the way that I've been running this thing in has been single coil mode using the 2 millimeter pin options. And I'm loving this draw. Loving it. It's very similar to the Veritas draw. Very, very similar, but it comes from the bottom. The airflow, that is. I mean, with these 2 millimeter pin options, it is right on par with my favorite setting on the Veritas as far as the draw. And the flavor is right there with the Veritas, right there with the Plume Veil. Definitely in my top 3. Been using this for the past week and I bumped it up. Okay, that's how good this thing is as far as flavor. Vapor, it chucks the vapor. That's all dependent on how you build this thing. But it can chuck the vapor. Actually, to be honest, this has been bumped up above my Veritas, and that's for one reason. It's just so much more convenient to build on this sucker versus the Veritas. I mean, the design of this device versus the Veritas, they're nothing alike. But the vape experience is so similar. And right now, I've got this Lancia sitting on this VaporShark DNA R 18650 mode. Okay, got a 1.7 ohm single coil in here, vaping her at 22 watts. Just 22 watts. A really chill vape, but what I love about it is that the chamber is small enough, okay? I'm getting a warm to hot, dense type of vape. That vape that I'm always looking for, that I always keep mentioning in my videos. I know some of you guys watching are like, why does he keep saying that? The warm, dense, hot vape? Well, that's what I like. That's what I like. Okay, it feels like when I'm vaping, I'm basically eating the juice, eating the e-liquid, and I yearn for that experience, and this gives it to me. And what I love about this device is it gives me that option, that single coil option. So right now, like I mentioned, I got a 1.7 ohm build. I usually stick between 1.1 and 1.8 on this device. Okay, single coil. I don't prefer to do it in dual coil. We'll get into that. Single coil mode, 22 watts. Like I said, that's a freaking chill vape. But the biggest pro to that is that I could pop it on a regulated device, a DNA 30, a DNA 20, and I get kick-ass battery life. I've been vaping on this device, this VaporShark, for the last 2 days with the same battery charge. Okay, 2 days, and I still have a fourth of battery life left. And I mean, I'm going through, I would say, 5 to 10 mils of e-liquid a day on this device in this RDA. That's awesome. But there are some cons to this device, and some of you guys will not like it. And one of those is she is leaky, boy. Leaky. You gotta know how to use her. This RDA is for the vapor who sits at his desk all day or her desk all day. She's not he's not, they're not, you're not. You're not the type of vapor who moves around a lot, okay? If you are the type of vapor, you're outside, you're moving, you put stuff in your pockets, this definitely isn't for you. Definitely not. It'll leak all over the place. You'll have a mess. You'll be pissed off, aggravated, okay? I sit this on the desk. I do my work. I do this. I do that. But I'm sitting in one place, and it doesn't present me any problems. I mean, it leaks a little bit, and another thing is this glass cap, this glass tube, and the other tube, the stainless steel tube that comes with it, it can easily be popped off. Especially the glass one more so. The tolerances aren't as tight as a stainless steel tube, and because of that, it can pop off with these, and it leaks a little bit down below those O-rings, okay, but it's not a big deal. Where you have to worry about it leaking is out of those air holes, okay. You got 2 massive air holes on one side, 2 on the other, and then you've got those 15 air hole plugs, which I mentioned, which I'll show you guys in the close-ups. But for those dual coilers out there, and this leads me to my second con, this definitely isn't for the dual coilers, okay, because if you're running it in dual coil, and I have, it leaks even more. I mean, because you have more airflow, more air holes that are open, and it's going to leak. See, at least with a single coil, I can block the other side off, and I'm good to go. The vape quality, man, when you learn how to use this, it is so damn good. And I don't know if you can see that, but around the edges, down below those O-rings, okay, right above those air holes, you see that? It leaks a little bit. Okay, that's what it looks like for me. It really doesn't get much worse than that. But again, I'm sitting this thing on a desk all day. I'm sedentary when I vape using this RDA, and that's about it. That's all the problems that I get. But I have friends who I've let borrow this for a couple days. They've taken it out. They move around a lot. They don't sit at one place. They're not sedentary, and they had major issues. Put it in their pocket. Okay, even put it in their shirt pocket. The tank, it popped out. These guys are clumsier, though, than I am. I pay attention to the details. Again, it's easy to take care of something when you have it just sitting on a desk. But for those of you guys who are clumsy, who don't pay attention to details, you're not going to like that. I got to emphasize on that. I don't want you to buy something that you're gonna have a mess with. Now, there is a learning curve to this device. 1, I recommend using this thing only in single coil mode. And 2, when I do drops, I'm using a higher VG based juice. No more than 7, 8 drops. If you go more than that, 9, 10, okay, it's going to leak. It's going to fill over those holes, and it's going to come out the air holes. So you got 7 drops in there. You got her in single coil mode. You got the other side blocked off. Whenever you take a hit, or whenever I take a hit, I find I get the best vaping experience when those air holes, when that coil is facing me. Most other RDAs, I vape it to where the coil is facing the other direction. With this one, I do it to where the coil is facing me, and I get a fantastic vape experience. And surprisingly, the juice does not come out of the air hole, because when I take a pull, that juice comes right back. It sucks right back into the chamber, right back onto the wick and coil, and I get a saturated as all hell vape. Oh yeah, back to the leaking. I also got to mention this. On the top of the device, when I take the RDA off, there is juice sitting on there. It's not a whole lot, but I gotta mention it. Compared to some of these RDAs, especially the Cloud Chaser type RDAs with the multiple airflow, it's about the same as those devices. Like the little boy. I mean, this thing cries a lot. And again, like me, I'm sitting in one place. It's not that big of a deal to me, but it may be to you. I mean, I haven't had issues with juice leaking over the edge, all over my mod, getting in the cracks, potentially in the circuitry. I haven't had issues like that. And some other RDAs, I do have those issues. With this, I don't, but I pay attention. I pay attention to detail, so maybe that makes a big difference. And another con is that the 510 connection pin on this RDA is not adjustable. And that leads me to the price for this device. Way too expensive for an RDA, in my opinion. $149.99. $150 for an RDA? Come on. Jeez. Nowadays, they've got RDAs dipping below $100, $85, $90, $75, even $50 and lower for devices that produce great quality vapes. Now, this produces a great quality vape as far as flavor. Flavor is off the charts, IMO. But for the price, hell no, I would not buy this. I'm not even going to wait to the end of this video to say that, okay? I got to say this early because I don't want some of you guys to watch this whole video, go look to see how much this thing is and go... So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I would not buy this. If Vape Happy hadn't sent this to me for review, and Vape Happy is the company that sent this to me for review, if they hadn't sent it to me, I wouldn't have bought it. I don't care the quality of the vape this device gives me. I would not buy it just because of that. So on to the pros. First of all, this thing is made of stainless steel, and the quality of the machining is fantastic. I mean, I give it a good 9 out of 10 as far as quality. The engravings on the base. It's marketed as having a Hawaiian type of design on the barrel. And like I said, machining is top notch. Machining top notch all across the board. I'll show you guys the deck. Flawless when I received it. Flawless. This is a 22mm dripper. Fits on all my mechanical mods, sits down flush, and looks the tits. It comes with 2 barrel options, a stainless steel tank barrel option, and a Pyrex tank barrel option. Like I mentioned, you can run this thing in single, dual, or quad coil mode, and you've got adjustable airflow options. Every drip tip that I've used for this device has been compatible, has sit down, snug as a bug. The vape quality, the flavor I get off this device, I'm going to mention this again, is absolutely top notch in my book. Like I said, compared to the Veritas, the Plume Veil, and those things have been on the top tier in my opinion, and I've used pretty much every RDA under the sun. This thing is up there with them. Up there with them. On the deck, it's got a 3-post design, easy to do your builds. You have a lot of room to do your builds, which makes it even more convenient. The drip well is not super deep. It's actually on the shallow end, but it makes up for it because those pins are pretty tall, and because of that, you can put more juice in there. Like I said, 7 drops, 8 drops, anything more than that, and it's going to start leaking. I dripped about 10 minutes ago, and I'm still going strong with flavor, and you can still see juice in there, and that's another good thing. With this glass barrel, you can see all the juice in there. You can see it sitting up against the tank in your wick, and you know when you need to drip. I mean, that's like what, four hits straight, and I'm still going strong. And like I said, I've been vaping the last 10 minutes, and that's only 7 drops in this RDA. So those are the pros and the cons for the Lancia. Let's go ahead and dive down. I'm going to show you guys a close-up of everything, and then we'll come back to FaceTime. Here is the Lancia, all broken down. You've got the deck, you've got the glass tank section, the stainless steel tank section, the top cap, and you've got plugs, adjustable airflow plugs, solid plugs, and an Allen key tool. It also comes with spare grub nuts, spare O-rings. Oh yeah. Here's your adjustable airflow. Now you get 15 pins. You get 3 solid pins to block off airflow. You get 4 3mm pins. You get 4 2mm pins, which 2 of them are already installed into the deck, and then you get 4 1mm pins. So here is the deck. Now, as you guys can see, you got your airflow comes from the bottom side on one side, comes from the bottom side on the other. It's got a 3-post design. The holes in the posts are nice and big, not the largest air holes or post holes that I've seen. Been able to fit 24 gauge, 26 gauge, 28 gauge pretty much with ease. Like I said, this is mainly for your single coil builds. If you don't want massive leaking, I highly recommend it for single coil. You can run it in dual or quad, but for single coil, I've been able to use 24. I've even been able to use down to 22 pretty much with ease. Now, back to airflow. Here are 2 airflow pins, 2mm in diameter. And then on the other side, you've got these pinholes. Now, I'm going to show you how it works. So here's a solid pin. Let's say I want to insert the solid pin into one slot. Goes in just like that. Now I can completely block the air hole off on this side by using another solid pin. Like I said, it comes with 3, but let's go ahead and say we want to use the 3mm air hole option or 3mm pin option. I'll just slide this pin, and here's the 3mm pin option. Boom. Slide that in right there. These pins work as barriers. Okay, so on this side, like I said, I've got the 2mm pins in, so I can fill all the way up to about, I would say 7-8 drops max, and it fills up to about right here, right the edge, 7-8 drops. And I tilt it like this. It feeds up from the wick. Wick sits down in this little dripper well, and it feeds up to the coil. I'm good to go. But that's how the airflow pins work. You can adjust it. Like I said, you've got 4 1mm pins, 4 2mm pins, or 4 3mm pins, and you've got 3 solid pins like that where you can block airflow off. So on this side, if I wanted, I can put a solid pin in and leave one open if I wanted a tighter draw. Or I can use a 1mm pin and put a solid pin in there to make it even tighter. I mean, sky's the limit pretty much with this airflow. Look at this deck. It is a shallow deck, very, very shallow, but you know what? These pins right here, they give you like a barrier. Here is the bottom of this deck, and as you guys can see, Lancia by Aura Mods, and you've got the serial number 96 for mine. Here's the stainless steel pin. These threads are smooth as butter, and just like I mentioned, machining for this whole device is top notch, top notch. Top cap, cool little design. And I didn't mention this in FaceTime, but it does have this conical design to intensify the flavor. And maybe this should be mentioned as a con. This edge down here around this conical top design is sharp, man. I mean, you could easily cut your finger if you're not careful. So I do have to mention that as a con. It's got one O-ring. All my drip tips are compatible. How this works is, fits on top of the barrel, glass or stainless steel. Press fits, boom, you're done. Here's the stainless steel barrel. And as you guys can see, the Hawaiian type design. Stellar machining. Okay, so that fits on just like the glass barrel. I did not mention this in the pros, but the beauty of a device like this is you don't have to worry about the barrel spinning, having to worry about the adjustable airflow on the barrel moving, because there's no adjustable airflow on the barrel. It all comes from here and you adjust it with those pins. So that's a great plus. Top cap, just like that. With the glass tank or barrel, I noticed that the tolerances are a lot looser than the stainless steel, and that definitely has something to do with it leaking more. Now, using the stainless steel barrel that I just showed you, the tolerances, as you guys probably saw, are definitely tighter. So if you want less leaking, use that stainless steel barrel. That is the Lancia RDA. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime. Alright, so that is the Lancia RDA. Again, I received this from Vape Happy, my boy Mike. Mike, if you're watching, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sending this out to me for review. But the price, man, price is too expensive. Okay, if this were like below $100, I would recommend it. I would recommend it to the vapors who, one, like single coil mode, and two, are more sedentary. I know that sounds bad, but hell, I'm a sedentary vapor. Price is just way too expensive in my opinion. So no, I wouldn't have bought it. Do I recommend it? No, because the price... But the quality of the vape is fantastic. So that's my take on the Lancia RDA. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.